Welcome. Good morning, everyone. 95th edition MCFB Live in search of awesome with you this morning. Breaking big Yes. I know Jenny's saying she's loving it big time. Special guest today on number 95. Can you believe we've been that far along? Elizabeth Eisenstein, Annastasia, Salon, Portland, Oregon. We're calling it Career Pivot. 10 steps back, 20 steps forward to the 10th power, and you're going to find out why in just a couple minutes. Before I bring on Elizabeth, I just want to give you little bit of background, because I think what she brings to the table this morning is nothing short of extraordinary. On the front end of 30-something, level 2. So there's a whole bunch of, the 40,000 plus service providers in Summit Salon community. I think you're going to be able to identify level 2. She's off to just a great start. And graduated high school, 04, decides, like a lot of people, I'm going to go, my post-elementary is going to be collegiate, gets a degree in art school in 08, and then enters into the field of multimedia, film, social web design, digital management. I mean, it goes on, and then works for the next, 10 years in corporate. One of those companies being Nike. And at the end of the back end of 10 years, her calling is to be us. One of us decides to go to hair school. Then shortly after that, starts at Annastasia, which is probably one of the most together Summit salons in the community now of 4,000, according to Mr. Kunkel. And she, in addition to all of that, as you can see, that she's also been a very, very, very big contributor of co-authoring, co-creating Summit Salon social media style guide that we're bringing that to the world this year. What else can I tell you about Elizabeth? L2, doing about 20 guests a week. Average ticket 70-something, women's haircut a little bit over 40. She is blowing it up with referrals, and you're going to see why on some of her best practices. And 60% of everybody that her first timers, she rebooks. So she's hitting it all on the right cylinders. And of course, handheld, mobile, digital, social. She's on the bullseye. iPhone 7 Plus, Mac storage. You'll see why. 8,600 followers on her Instagram page, which is Stylist Elizabeth. And she also has the overwhelming majority, as of 90+% of her guests on her page, so that when she is posting, she's getting maximum fills. Does about 4 to 5 posts a week, about 10 photo shoots, and the biggie is, as you'll see, she's taken the experience of photo shoots to a whole new level. She, on a typical photo shoot, it is nothing for Elizabeth to take, 65, 70 pictures. You do the math on that, and it's about 700 pics a week. And by the way, she can do all of this inside of a very makes sense window of time. It's about a 5-minute photo shoot. So that's her deal. Now, I'm going to bring her on. We're going to talk a little bit about what her life was like before she gets into the business, what's going on with her in the business, where she's going to go from here, and then we're going to go into her social media best practices. So, say a little prayer, cross your fingers that the Wi-Fi gods are working. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring her up and see, and there she is, so you can give it up for Miss Elizabeth, will you? Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning.
I know I got you up really, really early. It's a little bit after 8 in West Coast time. We're 10 here, so thanks for doing it for us, and I'm glad we could do it right, because last night Wi-Fi gods were not in a good mood.
It was not happening last night, but I'm excited to do it now.
Oh, wonderful. Nice. So get us started and catch us up to, like your story's really unique. So, you go to college, but your first 10 years in post-college were interesting. What was that like, and how did that bring you to hair school in Annastasia?
Yeah, so I originally went to an art school. I got a BFA in multimedia, and I always joke that my degree is just in the internet. So I ended up going on to do digital project management and social media for a few different agencies. The kind of biggest one being I worked for Nike, setting setting up their global social media workflow and a training program for all of their teams all across the world. So it ended up being about 200 teams everywhere calling me all the time. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah, and then worked in a few small agencies, and eventually decided I wasn't loving it. So I wanted to kind of follow my original dream.
And you do all this on the back end of 20 something. So this is a big decision. It's like you're well into having a life, you're well into a 5-figure income, you got 10 years of corporate. So this is why I'm calling this, you literally decided, I'm going to take 10 steps forward, banking on a 20 step, I beg your pardon, 10 steps backwards, banking on 20 big jumps forward. So this is a big risk for you.
Yeah, it was really crazy because I made the choice to do it and definitely realized like, okay, I am, you know, taking a big risk. I'm quitting my job. I'm going back to school. I'm putting myself $30,000 extra in debt. Do I want to do this? I struggled a lot with it. And then, ultimately decided like, yes, this is the thing I want to do. For me, I feel like I research everything really obsessively before I do it. So, I'd spent years like joking about, I want to go to hair school. I'm going to do it. Every time I would feel overwhelmed in my previous career. And finally, my friends just said, like, what are you doing? You should probably just do the thing you talk about doing all the time. So, and I kept seeing my friends that were stylists kind of having these like amazing, fun lives. So I eventually went and got my hair done by my longtime stylist and just said, like, hey, like, what's your deal? What is your life like? Are you happy? And she had a really similar story. She went back to cosmetology school in her late 20s. Had a similar career path where she wasn't happy and took the risk to do it. And I was like, okay, are you happy? Do you love this? Like, are you making money doing this? And she was like, yes, on all three. So I left and I went and signed up at school pretty much the next day.
So now you're in the pool. And the other thing you said to me that I thought was really interesting is like once you got into hour one in school, you're already an Instagrammer. I mean, you're like, what do I need to do in social to like jump time?
Yeah. For me, it was, I didn't grow up where I went to school. So I live in Portland, but I've only been here 5 years. So I don't have a huge network of friends. I don't have a huge network of family. So once I got into school, I saw, my classmates who were 18, 19, bringing their friends from high school in, bringing in their moms, bringing in their sister. And I realized, like, aside from a really small core group of friends, I didn't have a big client like built in to draw from.
So now you're like a few hundred hours into school, and all of a sudden you got this definable moment. Luke Hofstetter comes and does a presentation, and you're a student, and Luke, as most people watching knows, is a very, very, very prominent Summit Salon owner. He's been a Summit Salon coach. He's now, the team leader of the Summit Salon social media team, which you're a big key player of. Talk a little bit about when Luke came in, you meet him, and, what was that like?
And Sam lives near them.
So Luke comes in and he does his presentation in the school and you meet him. Like, what was that connection like and what happened from that point on?
Hold on. Sorry, you're breaking up again.
Oh, how am I now? Is it better?
A little bit better.
All right, so just talk about when you met Luke.
Yes, when I met Luke. Okay. So I was lucky enough to go to school that did a career fair twice a year. So, we'd have presentations from alumni, and then there'd be a ton of salons from the area that set up booths. And the funny thing about that is a lot of people failed. Like a lot of students, just not go. But I figured, this would be a good way to get my foot in the door to a salon. And I knew I had this marketing background, and I knew that salons were marketing themselves on social media. And so for me, when I met Luke, I was 6 months into school. It took me about a year and 2 months to finish. So I'm about halfway through. nowhere close to graduating. And, you know, maybe I can pick up like a couple of freelance gigs and make a little extra cash if it wasn't working. Um, and potentially, you know, kind of wedge my way into the job. And I met Luke and I kind of gave him my pitch and he was pretty excited about it. So he gave me his card and said, hey, email me in a couple of days. And I got in touch with him and immediately he was like, okay, we are going to train all of our stylists in social. You're going to come in, you're going to create this plan for us. I ended up building a style guide for Annastasia that kind of became the summit, social media guidelines, and then meeting in small groups with all the stylists to get them going and growing their business. And I was still in school at that time.
Wonderful. So now you're in school, and before we get to your social media stuff, when you and I were chatting, the level charts like woke you up, right? You saw that, and it was like you were in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think from like spending time with those stylists, kind of saw that, you know, all the guidelines were clear, and you know their path to success was clear, and they just had to kind of put in the work and make it happen. And so it was kind of fantastic to, you know, watch all of that. And while I was feeling very nervous being in school, feeling like I took this risk, like not really sure if it was going to pay off, you know, not sure if I was going to be able to pay my rent at the end of this, and seeing people being successful and just kind of, hey, like I want to be part of this, like I want to be here.
Nice, nice. So I want to flip over to, while we got good Wi-Fi, I want to flip over to how you operate in the salon. Once you serve your guest, you're on the back end. And the most interesting thing about your story from interviewing you was the guest experience and as it relates to the photo shoot, because that's really, really specific. And that's so important. I'm actually going to hold up the PowerPoint so that people can see the points that you're referring to, and then I'll get them out of the way so that they can see you. But talk about that part of your practice, because it's huge.
Okay. Yeah, photo shoot is huge. So where are we going to go? The way I look at it is this is the way I promote my business. This is my business card. So I want it to be the best it can possibly be. At this point, the guests generally know they're getting their in, so they can come ready and they can make the deal. But you know, I look at it as this is the last 5 minutes of my service every time. So you know, I've got 45 minutes to do a haircut, but realistically, I have 40 to do a haircut, and I have 5 minutes to do a photo shoot. You know, and then I can go kind of in what that photo shoot is like. But for me, you know, I want to just take the best possible pictures I can take. I take a million pictures. I use the burst picture a lot on my phone. Once the light is on and once I just go. I get in there and I like move their heads around. We have a ring light set up in the salon, and it's funny because every once in a while people will walk past and I have the ring light like around my neck like this, and I'm like under the, you know, kind of moving in all directions, because you know I'm just like, this is it. This is how I get the best version of my work.
Right. And one of the things just came up in me is that after this interview, I'm gonna put you on the spot. I would love to sneak into the salon with a Facebook Live and actually do a little recording while you're doing that photo shoot, because I bet it's just amazing to watch.
Oh yeah, we should.
No, yeah, so when you're done, I mean it's like a professional photo shoot. When you're done, you say something I think really unique to the guest about you just don't hand pictures over. I mean, there's even a big deal in that.
Right. So so one of the things that we kind of push to is, you know, share the pictures with your guests so that they can use them on their own social media, so that they can become guest influencers, right? And I've stylists in my salon, one of the things that breaks my little heart is when immediately after the photo shoot, I see them like airdropping the pictures. Because to me, if that happens, I haven't had time to go through the pictures, get rid of ones or their eyes are weird and closed. I haven't had the chance to pick my favorite five, and I haven't had the chance to look at them a little bit for life because I know on our black backdrop that we roll down, there's a big crease along the back, messes with the pictures, and there's a little light in the corner that creates like an orange cast that you have to get rid of. And I know that there's like one hair hanging out that I didn't catch, so I maybe 12 hours to go home, to go through the pictures, to select my favorites. And I don't edit them to make them look like something they're not, but I definitely like to get rid of that cream, and I definitely like to kind of minimize that orange cast that pops up. I like to get rid of the zit on that crease. Maybe I like to make sure that the color in the picture is representative of how it looked in real life.
Yes.
I don't want it to match than it really was or warmer than it really was. And then I send them my favorite five.
I love it. So, I mean, that experience, I know gives the guest a great appreciation of the value, and it's one more thing that is really accelerating development of your clientele. Now, the other thing that I want you to talk about, Elizabeth, if I could, is that you have a very refined process about, like in a 45-minute window, you really go a long way to break down what those minutes, like give us a diagram of that.
Okay, so I mean, it's a thing that I've struggled with. Stylists, they say, the thing I hear most of all is I don't have time. And perhaps I'm lucky because I started my career taking pictures, so this was always something that was built in service. But I think about it, I think about it backwards. I've got 45 minutes to do a haircut. That means I have 45 minutes from the moment I pick them up in the waiting area to when I walk them out so they can check out. So if I work backwards, I want to allot about 5 minutes for a photo shoot. So now I've got 40 minutes. But I know on the front end, it's going to take a couple of minutes to get them back to my station. It's going to take 2 more minutes to get their coat hung up. I'm going to do a 5-minute consultation. I'm going to allot 7 minutes for shampoo. And once you start taking these things away, I essentially have a 20-minute haircut and blow dry. But it helps because for me, I'm like, I really need to make my haircuts an hour, which I'm not going to do, or I need to kind of work really well, but really quickly.
I love it.
Have to take these pictures.
Yeah, and then and I'm going to give them the actual blueprint. I was holding up, that PowerPoint slide so people could actually walk, be with you as you walked us through. And then you say something I think is extraordinary. If you've got a guest that wants to get a little bit chatty, it's like, can we table that conversation until we get this part handled? Which I think is just a gracious and a very ingenious way of controlling in a very graceful way the conversation so that you don't get behind.
Totally. I mean, for me, this is my business, and I love my guests, and I think they're all amazing. And I've been really lucky that because I've marketed myself this way, I do have the best guests in the world. But it's also, I've made the conscious choice to be real with a lot of my guests. This is my business, and so I want to get chatty. I want to hear about their lives, and I want to hear their deep secrets. But if I need to interrupt them to say, hey, I've got to mix your color, I want you to get into the story, but we're going to do it while I'm applying. That's okay. And I feel like because I've delivered it in a way where I've said, hey, it's really exciting to me, but I'm here for your hair. I want to talk about your hair first, and then we're going to come back to this. They understand, and they feel taken care of. They do ultimately feel like their hair is a priority, not.
Yeah, I love it. So we're running out of time, but I'm going to be coming back to see you because I really want to schedule a photo shoot so the world can see just exactly how this is. But before we sign off, there is just, as you know, and you being a very big part of the Summit Salon social media team and the co-author of the Style Guide with Luke Hufstetter, I know, we know that there's a number of hairdressers that this is intimidating for them. They've been in it 10 years, 15 years. in a nutshell, is there something you might say to them to kind of like get them off the dime and in the pool and in the game?
I mean, you gotta build it in. Realistically, you gotta just build in the time for yourself. For our level ones, we train them. If they've got the time, I have them go through their books and I have them start extending out some appointments just so they can start to get the feeling of what it's like to tack a photo shoot on to the end of their service. But ultimately, their goal is to be able to make that photo shoot work within their normal allotted time. Because I've been working with Luke and we've been building the Summit social media guidelines, what's rad is now I have a whole team of Summit social media consultants. So it's myself, 5 other people, and we have kind of 3 different pathways to helping you succeed there. And so if you're an individual who's really, really struggling, we do offer peer-to-peer coaching for an hour a piece that, we can hop on a Zoom call and just kind of talk through like any issue you're having. But there's also social media boot camps that, Michael, I know you're facilitating some. Luke is facilitating some. Sorry, I'm eventually going to do it. There's boot camps that you can come and you can get a total crash course in how to just get started and how to get motivated. And they're rad. I've been to a few. I love them. I wrote them. Please come.
Right. I love it. Well, listen, I'm going to summarize our conversation with the bullet points that the people that view really have, really can see the blueprint that you brought to the table, because it's extraordinary. And then we will actually edit this down so that there's a micro learning version of it. And then we're going to have you back, because this movement, this social media training movement, is a very big deal for Summit Salon Business Center, and you are a major part of that. So on behalf of everybody watching today, Elizabeth, thank you very much. I know it was early in the morning, and we were able to walk through the Wi-Fi problem. So give it up one more time for Miss Elizabeth, would you please? Thanks for making big boom boom with us this morning, huh? All right, see you later, girl. Nice. Beautiful. Now, what Elizabeth is talking about, my friends, is so important that I want to bring it up on my screen and really kind of summarize for you in PowerPoint what she was talking about, because it's huge. So first of all, you can see this. She has the photo shoot experience, and I really call it the guest experience, because it's as much about an enhanced experience for the guest as it is for her collecting content to post on pages. And so first of all, she makes the photo shoot a top priority. And she takes many pictures. So she has way more than she needs rather than to need more than she has. And this is the biggie. She never gives away the pictures right away. She really wants her guests to appreciate the value of that skill, that art, and she really equates it to the $30,000 she spent going to school, that this skill set and what she's doing has that much value. And she gets the final say as to what guests get particular pictures, and then they're uploaded on the guests' Instagram pages and Facebook pages. She follows up, and they're always tagging her. Of course, they go up on her pages. If you look at her work, it's nothing short of extraordinary. And she says to her guests very graciously, "Let me edit these for you." So it's a very big deal. Now, the other thing that she talked about this morning, which I really want to make sure you guys get, is that she literally is architecting the extraordinary guest experience. So social media is way more than posting on pages and getting referrals. It has now become a part of her chairside manner, and it's that those emotional sensations that her guests have, and in the moments of time that they're in her chair, and she architects that experience. She even has it, and she manages her time well, because many hairdressers will say, "I don't have the time to do all that stuff." And to me, it's a narrative that's it's a great explanation, but it's not going to excuse you of the natural consequence of not getting in the game, which is you're going to begin to lose your guests to other hairdressers that are offering that experience, because the guest now is finding out in the community, whether it's online community, in their neighborhoods, in their families, that there's something new and exciting and innovative being offered in the salon, and it's called the Social Media Guest Extraordinary Experience. So she says she got about a 49-minute play-by-play. She does 5 focus minutes for the photo shoot, 5 minutes for the consultation. She tables all other conversations while she's having a consultation. 3 minutes to rebook, 3 minutes to talk about, to close on the retail, 3 minutes for referrals, and then 30 focus minutes for the haircut and the finish and how she manages that. So I just love this as a blueprint of how she plays it. So once again, let's give it up for her one more time. And for those of you that are just joining us for the first time on MCFB Live, hang out with us, because we're doing Facebook Lives on this platform almost on a daily basis, as well as bringing this show, this studio, in a lot of the Summit salons, private pages, secret groups, and so your coach and consultant can tell you more about that. The address to this, you're on it now. It's Michael Cole OTT as an over the top. Also hang out on Instagram.com, Michael Cole BGTD, as in boom goes to dynamite. Now also, you know, if you're hanging out with us, live on summitsalon.com, because there's a lot of really cool free stuff for building business there. One of them is, if you hit summitsalon.com/MC Live, you will have all of the episodes. They've been curated where you can, it'll take you right into a direct into YouTube, so you won't have to go hunting for them. And today was our 95th episode. Knowing what I know, if I was you, I would start with 95 and begin working backwards. You don't necessarily need to watch these tutorials. They're 5-10 minute tutorials, Bluetooth to your car. Listen to them as on the way to and from work. This is literally a new way, an innovative way of turning drive time, car time into a classroom. The book that really is the text to supports, especially the guest conversation, is over the top. And now the Summit Planner has become as much a part of planning on how we use social media to fill in the empty windows of time tomorrow, this week, next week, this month, as well as looking at who's coming into me today to see what else I can offer them to enhance the experience. So and then there's just a number of things that you can get on summitsalon.com now. If you go to the homepage, it'll take you to the calculators. And now all of our digital calculators have virtually taken out all the math. So for those of us that are not understand math, that's doing it for us, as well as a Summit tracker now that will, on the back end, measuring what you treasure by showing you the effectiveness of all the strategies you're working. So there you have it. It's just a great show this morning. I think it's one of those historical shows. I never like to end without expressing gratitude to our sponsors, L'Oreal PPD, and all the brands that they bring to the table. We got Redken Matrix, L'Oreal Professional, Kerastase, Baxter, Mazzani, Schuh, Essie, Pureology. All of these are the brands that continue to demonstrate their support so that we can bring this to you. Of course, there's Summit Salon Business Center. I love all of the coaches and the summits and all of the post-summit education that we have to watch that grow. Thank you for supporting it. And then Salon Centric, which is the distribution arm, as well as State Beauty and RDA ProMart. So on behalf of the world, thanks for joining us this morning, and look forward to seeing you next week.